Live from downtown Bakersfield, 23 ABC News starts now.
Remembering a local business icon who made Kern County his home. We'll have details on what family and friends are saying about the passing of Jose Arredondo.
Good morning and thanks for tuning in for 23 ABC News at 4:30 on this Wednesday morning. I'm Danielle Kernkamp.
And I'm Mike Hart. Happening right now, though, emergency crews along with PG&E cleaning up an accident at a busy intersection on the west side. CHP saying a big rig hit a power pole on the northwest corner of Stockdale Highway and Nord Avenue. The crash knocking down lines across the intersections. Traffic lights were out at Stockdale and Heath. The driver complaining of pain, but there were no other injuries. Several other vehicles ran through the debris field as well. That entire intersection is blocked off. More than 150 homes at last word without power. Now this intersection, if you know, is notorious for collisions with that pole. Crews have put up large yellow reflectors, painted warnings on the roadway, signs that say merge, and the collisions are still happening. And because it's so far out there, Elena, it's hard to get around.
It's hard to get around, and I don't have any slowing on my maps because there are no cars going through this area. So this is the area where it's closed. You see this is Stockdale Highway at Nord, so it's just past where the West Side Parkway meets with Stockdale. So again, like you mentioned, the best way would probably be to head up to Rosedale Highway, take the 58 across, and then once you get past Allen, then you can reconnect to the West Side Parkway or Stockdale Highway just fine. So that's what's going on way over there on the west end. The rest of Bakersfield looking okay. Let me take you county-wide though, because up in Lost Hills, we still have an investigation from a fatality overnight. More on this in a minute, but I wanted to show you that it's about 45 miles an hour on the southbound lanes of the 5 approaching that incident, about 10 miles an hour on the 46 through that area. As you know, there are several businesses here, so no word on when this road will be officially reopened or cleared up, but there's a lot of slowing in that area for now. And again, more on that in just a minute, but we wanted to show you traffic or weather quickly. That shows you some colder air coming onshore to our north with some showers. We're dry this far south, but we do get some of that fresh breeze because of that system. So we have the 60s and 70s for most of the county, 50s in Breckenridge, Tehachapi, Bear Valley, and Pine Mountain Club at this hour. Later today, 98 here in Bakersfield. That's right on track for average. Talk more about today's winds and that moderate air quality.
At least one person is dead following a multiple vehicle crash on the I-5 overnight. According to the CHP's traffic incident website, 2 semis and another vehicle were involved in a crash just after midnight on the 5 near Highway 46. There is at least one reported death. No word at this time on any injuries on this collision. We'll continue to update this story as more information comes into our newsroom.
Local business leader and car dealership owner Jose Arredondo is dead while in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. Arredondo's death leaving his friends, family, and employees in a state of shock. John Petrie, Chief Operations Officer at Motor City Buick GMC and Motor City Lexus, tells 23 that he received an email informing him and other dealers in the area that Arredondo had died. According to Petrie, there were no other details on his passing, although there have been many stories circulating throughout social media. Petrie said he spoke with Arredondo's family and that he wished them his sincerest condolences.
His family was, reached out to us and let us know what happened, and, certainly a sad circumstance. I don't know the details of the situation. I only know that he was in Cabo San Lucas on business and pleasure. I know he had a home down there and a business down there, so I don't really know the circumstances why he was there, but unfortunately something tragic happened to him last night.
According to the website Family Motors, Arredondo was born in Mexico and came to the U.S. when he was 12 years old. His first car dealership was in Mission Hills in the 70s. He moved to Kern County in 1993, expanding his business here over the next 25 years. Now, as I said, there are very few official details known about his death. Officials in Mexico right now are not releasing any information. Once we have received that and confirmed it, we will pass it along to you.
Police need your help locating a woman who went missing in central Bakersfield. This is 34-year-old Elizabeth Solis. According to BPD, she was reported as a missing adult at risk. Solis was last seen yesterday on Oleander Avenue near Bakersfield High School. She's described as having brown hair and brown eyes and was wearing a blue shirt and black shorts. If you have any information on this missing case, you're asked to call police at 327-7111.
In your ag report this morning, a proposal from the U.S. Department of Labor to modify the existing agriculture visa program has been met with initial support from farm leaders. California Farm Bureau President Jamie Johansson says he's encouraged by the administration's efforts to improve the system known as H-2A. Johansson says farmers also need congressional action on wider improvement to immigration laws. It would help to address chronic employee shortages.
In other ag news, many urban residents now take broadband internet service for granted, but it remains scarce in some rural areas. An estimated 1/4 of rural Americans lack sufficient broadband service, including many in California. Farmers say more reliable service would allow them to adopt technology to improve precision of water and fertilizer use, as well as animal care. Internet availability also hampers delivery of public services in rural regions.
18 farms, ranches, and agricultural organizations that have been in continuous operation for at least 100 years will join the California Agricultural Heritage Club today. The California State Fair inducts new members into the club every year. 2 farms or ranches will be honored for 150 years of operation. The Grohl Family Ranch in Stanislaus County and Wilbur Ranch in Sutter County each began in 1869. Last year, Tejon Ranch was honored for hitting the 175-year mark of continuous operation.
In other news this weekend, canines from law enforcement agencies all over the U.S. and as far as Mexico will be in Bakersfield showing off their tactics and techniques in the annual canine trials. This morning, we're taking a look at how those skills translate to a day on the job for the canine officers.
Our call sign is King 2.
Bakersfield Police Canine RJ knows exactly what that sound means.
He knows our call sign whenever he hears me pick up the radio.
It means it's time for RJ and Officer Brad Vaughn to get to work.
Building searches, burglaries, any real in-progress crime is where we try to use them.
And that's exactly where they're headed this morning. A downtown Bakersfield business reported a burglary overnight, and it's yet to be cleared for the possibility of a suspect still inside.
I don't know if they came out yet.
The Bakersfield Police Department, this is your final warning. I'm a police canine. Come out now or make yourself known, or my dog will find you and he will bite you.
RJ shows Officer Vaughn the basement is all clear.
I know if he's sitting down there at the bottom of the stairs that the chances of someone being inside the building or being inside that room at the base of the stairs are pretty minimal. So reduces the risk to the officers on scene.
It's exactly what canines are trained to do on the job every day. Going into potentially dangerous places, searching, seeing, smelling what humans can't.
He kind of gives us that warning, you know.
Protecting officers from the unknown, sometimes even saving lives. RJ specializes in criminal apprehension and explosives detection. Meanwhile, Canine Hero with the Kern County Sheriff's Office is trained to find and take down suspects and to find narcotics.
We're together 24/7, more than any other person in my family. He's with me all the time, so the bond grows pretty quick and it's pretty strong.
Canine Hero and Deputy Andrew Bassett have been working together for about 3 years.
I think the biggest thing, the misconception, is a lot of people think that our canines are extremely vicious and mean. I mean, you could see right here, and he's just in there hanging out. It's the farthest thing from the truth. They're just like your dogs at home, except they just have a little bit more drive and desire to go out and do the job that they do.
Hero has placed at other canine competitions, and now he'll be going head-to-head for the title of top dog at the Bakersfield Canine Trials, competing with police dogs all over the state and as far as Mexico. Canines will demonstrate search skills, obedience,
Under, kennel safe,
and agility in obstacle courses, skills that reflect real-life encounters for canines on the job.
We encounter stuff like this all the time where a deputy couldn't access it, but we believe maybe a suspect or somebody's inside of it.
And it pays off on days like this. Canine RJ and Officer Vaughn are called to help out the gang unit locate 2 suspects.
Let's go.
About 20 BPD units respond, set up a perimeter, trying to find and arrest 2 men who were running through backyards in an East Bakersfield neighborhood.
Someone needs to go to the back of the residence.
A situation like this, the perfect scenario to use Canine RJ's apprehension skills to find and take down suspects. Unique even among the dozens of officers present.
Presents an incredibly high risk to officers and the public. Something where we use the canine to locate and, if needed, apprehend the suspect. RJ did a good job. He did a good job today.
The competition is happening Saturday at Rabobank Arena. The proceeds are going to go towards the Armed Forces Support Foundation. A $2 per entry donation is recommended at the door, but they say if you can't do that, to come on down anyway.
Yeah, and come see them in their prime. I love that. Here in California, we are calm and clear. We're going to have some high thin clouds coming on through, but plenty of sunshine and warming for another average afternoon with more moderate air quality. If you liked yesterday, today is much of the same. This morning, quite cool out there. You see 60s and 70s for the desert. Most mountain locations locations and here on the valley floor. Delano now just popping in at 66. Bakersfield at 73 with some 50s holding on in Breckenridge, Tehachapi, Bear Valley and Pine Mountain Club for our cool spots this morning. There's a little bit of a fresh breeze mainly coming through the Tehachapi Pass and down into the desert. And as we take a look ahead to those winds, it'll be about 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts this morning into the desert. And then we're pretty calm by mid-morning. This afternoon, we're going to start to see just a little bit of that breeze picking up again down into the desert, about 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts for the afternoon into the evening. Here on the valley floor, about 5 to 10 for most of the afternoon, but we could have some 15 to 20 mile per hour wind gusts. That's what keeps those temperatures from getting too hot into those 100s. Also keeps that air quality in that moderate range. So 98 in the forecast for today. Yesterday ended up being 97. We have 99 in Lamont and Arvin for our hot spots here on the valley floor. Warm in the Kern River Valley with mid-90s in Kernville and Isabella. 80s though in Glenville, the Tehachapi area, down into the Fraser Park region. Pine Mountain Club 76, whereas out in the desert we still have some 100s in Ridgecrest and Cal City. But we'll talk more about a cooling trend that is headed our way in just a few minutes.
Still to come on 23 ABC News, if you're looking for a way to eat some chocolate without refined sugar, that dream could soon become a reality.
Stop it.
More on the brand behind this push coming up after the break.
Plus, the release of Emmy nominations included several notable achievements. We'll tell you about the nominations that made history when 23 ABC News continues.
Welcome back. 444 and talking about our traffic, we have a crash that has shut down Stockdale Highway way out on the west side at Norrin Avenue. This is a truck that has hit a pole there, taken some lines down into the road. So you will not be able to take Stockdale Highway past the West Side Parkway. If you want to get onto the West Side Parkway or use Stockdale Highway in this region, best to head up to the 58 and then reconnect with Allen north or south to get onto either of those roads. So again, that's way out on the west side. The rest of our Bakersfield Highway is doing okay. And as I take you further out, all up and down the 5 down to the base of the Grapevine, you're good. But if you're heading up to Lost Hills, we have a fatality crash investigation from overnight, still causing some slowing. Southbound on the 5, approaching that crash into the 46. It's about 45 miles an hour, both directions of the 46 through that Lost Hills area, about 10 miles an hour. You see now the southbound 5 is at 20 miles an hour. So just crawling through that region, not cleared up just yet. Further down the road, you can see everything running in the green here at this Caltrans camera, but watch out for that intersection. Again, 46 and the 5 still seeing a lot of slowing.
In health news this morning, people in New York soon won't be able to buy tobacco or e-cigs until they reach 21 years of age. Governor Andrew Cuomo signed legislation saying, quote, "We can prevent an entire generation of New Yorkers from forming costly and potentially deadly addictions." The change goes into effect in 120 days and will apply to the sales of traditional tobacco products as well as electronic cigarettes and vaporizers. According to the American Cancer Society, 95% of all smokers begin using tobacco before they turn 21. More than a dozen states have approved raising the smoking age, though in some, the changes won't take effect until later in 2019 or in coming years.
Now to consumer news. Nestle is giving chocolate lovers a reason to indulge without overdoing the calories. The Swiss company revealed its newest invention, chocolate without refined sugar. Nestle says it created a 70% dark chocolate made entirely from the beans and the pulp of the cocoa fruit. No added sugar needed. So if you're worried about the taste, the company pledges its new natural approach does not compromise the chocolate's taste, texture, or quality. There's only one way to really find out, though, of course. Nestle plans to introduce its new chocolate this fall at its Kit Kat Chocolatory in Japan. It will then expand to other countries next year.
Not the Wonka factory.
Right.
Okay. If you have Sprint, you might be a victim of a new data breach. Sprint says hackers got access to people's accounts through Samsung's website. As of this morning, it says it doesn't know how many people were hacked. According to Sprint, hackers got names, addresses, and phone numbers along with account numbers, account and device information. It says the hackers did not get credit card numbers. Sprint says it had impacted customers reset their PINs a few weeks ago.
Check this out. Apple is celebrating World Emoji Day, which is a thing, by giving the world a sneak peek at some of the emojis the company is working on. The tech giant revealed it's going to be releasing 59 new emojis this fall. They include a slew of new food, animal, and smiley face choices. Apple is also looking to add more diversity to its options. For instance, it plans to release disability-themed emojis with prosthetic limbs and even a guide dog. Apple is also updating its holding hands emojis to include 75 possible combinations of skin tones and genders.
In entertainment news, this year's Emmy nominations made some history in several ways. Billy Porter's nomination for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama for Pose is the first nomination in that category for an openly gay black man. HBO's Game of Thrones set a record for most nominations for a drama series with 32, and HBO overall set a record for the most nominations with 137. The Emmys air September 22nd, and so far, no word on any host. So we'll see how that part of it goes.
Okay, I'll do it.
They're waiting.
That'd be very fun. Here's a look out at our temperatures up in the North County. You see the 60s. Same for Wolford Heights, Isabella. Some 50s in Tehachapi and down into Pine Mountain Club. Some 70s holding on for most of the desert, and here in the heart of the valley, Bakersfield currently at 73 with a little bit of a breeze, some moderate air quality, really nice as we continue to see calm, clear conditions. There are storms passing to our north and digging down into the plains, but high pressure in control is what is keeping us so calm and quiet for the next couple days. We will have some high thin clouds coming through, but really you're not seeing any of these weather patterns coming on shore. It's just that little bit of a breeze that keeps the temperatures down at or below average for the next couple afternoons. Average again for this time of year in Bakersfield, 98. This is mid-July. This is our hottest point of the year now through mid-August. So with these temperatures, this little bit of onshore flow did pick up some winds overnight. Now those are calming down this morning. We'll continue to have that onshore flow tomorrow. So you see this high pressure being kept down south of the Four Corners region. A stronger onshore flow Friday. All of that just means westerly winds takes temperatures down even more. So watch how we go from 98 today, perfectly average, to 97 tomorrow. Okay, probably still holding on to the moderate air quality then. And then a breezy 94 on Friday takes us down to our coolest day of this trend. Now I know 94 isn't cool, but it's below average by 4 degrees, and that fresh breeze will improve the air quality even more. Kind of level out Saturday, 95, back on track for average Sunday at 98. And then it looks like all next week we are trying to get into our next heat wave. But you see these forecast numbers aren't 105 to 110 like we can see in July. So hopefully some of these break those 100-degree marks and actually only come in at 99, and therefore it's not a heat wave. We'll wait and see, though. Next week is looking hotter. Kern River Valley, 94 today, down to those low 90s Friday, Saturday. Tehachapi, Fraser Park, some mid-80s this afternoon for Tehachapi, low 80s in Fraser Park, and then you both enjoy the low 80s right on through the beginning of your weekend.
Still to come on 23 ABC, not the foul ball you're expecting at a baseball game. Details on who stole the spotlight from these pro players.
Plus, one small projection for man, one giant reminder to everyone who visits a famous monument in Washington, D.C. That is just spectacular. We'll have more on this straight ahead. You're watching 23 ABC.
The second inning of the game between the Padres and Marlins was briefly delayed by some foul play, but it wasn't a foul ball. A pigeon actually made its way onto the field and just took over the whole game. Despite efforts from the umps and Marlins first baseman Garrett Cooper to get the bird to fly away, it just stayed put right there on the field and continued to walk along the first baseline. It eventually walked into the outfield, at which the play resumed. But a stubborn pigeon over there, yeah.
The Apollo 11 mission to the moon launched on July 16, 1969, 50 years ago yesterday. And just 4 days later, astronaut Neil Armstrong took those famous steps. For the next few days, exactly 50 years later, the Washington Monument will look like this. And boom. Wait for it. There you go. The Saturn V, the tallest and most powerful rocket ever built, carried most of the Apollo missions. A life-size image of the Saturn V, the full 363 feet, was projected onto the 555-foot tall monument. That's so cool. It started yesterday. Look, you can see like the steam coming from escaping from. That's so cool. It's going to continue tonight and tomorrow night, Friday and Saturday. A 17-minute program called Apollo 50 Go for the Moon will be projected on the monument and on screens all around the mall. It's too late to get plane tickets?
I think we could try.
So cool.
It's so cool. Yeah, because you can see that kind of stuff at the Space Center and other places around the country, but until you really see it in what it would be like in full height in something compared to the National Monument, can't really get a grasp for it. So here's a look back home where it is completely clear and calm. We're getting a little bit of that early morning daybreak, and a look at our temperatures is showing us that we're going to be at 98 later today. Right on track for average. A little bit of a dip. End of the work week. Isn't it perfect that Friday and Saturday is mid-90s hot, but that means 80s for date night. Back to 98 average Sunday, and then we're going to try and get 100s for most of the next work week.
Coming up in our next hour of news, the tremors not only rocking the community, but also businesses. Details on an event happening today that looks to help those mom and pop shops.
Plus, remembering his legacy, we'll tell you all about John Paul Stevens and his passing. That and more in our first full hour of news. Straight ahead, keep it locked in. This is 23 ABC.